The transformation from willpower-dependent struggle to system-based ease requires specific strategies, each building on Stoic principles refined through centuries of philosophical insight. Epictetus declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself," but mastery doesn't mean constant battle. It means creating conditions where battles become unnecessary. Your willpower is finite, depleting as the day progresses. By evening, when energy is low and stress is high, you're most vulnerable to temptation. Fighting at your weakest moment is poor strategy. Instead, eliminate temptation before it arises. If junk food isn't in your house, you can't eat it in a moment of weakness. If your phone is in another room during work hours, you can't mindlessly scroll. You're not relying on restraint. You've removed the need for restraint. This isn't avoidance, it's intelligent design. You're setting future you up for success by making present you's choices permanent. Seneca understood that perfection comes through gradual trials, not overwhelming leaps. Most people fail because they try to transform everything at once. They commit to daily hour-long workouts when they haven't exercised in years. They vow to read 5 books monthly when they haven't finished one. This approach guarantees burnout. Start with actions so small they seem insignificant. Want to exercise? Walk for 10 minutes. Want to read more? Read 1 page. These tiny actions don't strain your system. They don't trigger resistance, but they create momentum. Each small win builds confidence. Each completion reinforces identity. Soon 10-minute walks become 20-minute runs. 1 page becomes chapters. Small, consistent actions compound into remarkable transformations. Carl Jung recognized that we become what we choose to become, not what happens to us. The Stoics applied this wisdom practically. When facing a bad habit, they didn't just say no, they chose something better. Don't fight late-night snacking. Replace it with herbal tea and reading. Don't battle procrastination. Redirect that energy into starting small, manageable tasks. This strategy works because it doesn't create deprivation. You're not denying yourself. You're choosing something aligned with your values. There's no internal conflict, no sense of loss. You're redirecting energy toward what serves you, making discipline feel like freedom rather than restriction. Most people approach discipline the wrong way. They believe it's about grinding through pain, forcing themselves to suffer more than others, or possessing some magical willpower that separates the strong from the weak. But this understanding couldn't be further from the truth. That approach leads to burnout, not breakthrough. It creates internal warfare, not lasting change. The ancient Stoics understood something profound about human nature that modern psychology is only now beginning to validate. Discipline isn't a personality trait you're born with or without. It's not about having an iron will or the ability to endure endless discomfort. True discipline is about designing your life so intelligently that doing the right thing becomes easier than giving in to temptation. It's about creating systems that work with your nature, not against it. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This statement reveals the foundation of Stoic discipline. It's not about controlling the uncontrollable or forcing yourself to meet impossible standards. It's about mastering what you actually can control: your environment, your habits, your thoughts, and your responses. When you align these elements with your values, discipline stops being a battle and becomes a natural expression of who you are. Consider how most people set goals. They decide to eat healthier, so they stock their pantry with junk food and rely on willpower to resist it. They want to exercise more, so they tell themselves they'll find motivation tomorrow. They aim to be productive, yet keep their phone within arm's reach, notifications constantly pulling their attention away. This is setting yourself up for failure. You're creating friction where there should be flow, obstacles where there should be clear paths. The Stoic approach inverts this completely. If you want to eat healthier, remove unhealthy food from your home entirely. The temptation isn't there to begin with. You're not using willpower to resist. You've eliminated the need to resist. Want to work out consistently? Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Schedule workouts like non-negotiable appointments. Remove every barrier between intention and action. This isn't weakness, it's strategic intelligence. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. But reactions happen in environments. If your environment constantly triggers poor reactions, you're fighting an uphill battle. The truly disciplined person doesn't fight more battles. They design their life to avoid unnecessary battles altogether. They create what researchers now call choice architecture, structuring decisions so the right choice is the obvious choice. Think about your morning routine. If your phone is next to your bed, the first thing you'll do is scroll through social media, flooding your mind with others' priorities before you've even considered your own. But if you move your phone to another room, you've made focus the default state. You haven't used willpower, you've used wisdom. You've applied the Stoic principle of controlling what you can control your environment to. Support what you value. Mindful mornings. This principle extends to every area of life. Willpower is like a battery that depletes throughout the day. The more decisions you force yourself to make, the more this battery drains. By evening, when willpower is lowest, temptation is strongest. This is why people who rely solely on willpower fail. They're using a finite resource to fight an infinite number of temptations. But discipline as a system doesn't drain willpower, it preserves it. When you automate good choices through environmental design, when you create routines that don't require constant decision-making, you're not using discipline, you're being disciplined. There's a crucial difference. One is exhausting effort, the other is effortless flow. The Stoics were masters of this distinction. They didn't believe in unnecessary suffering. They believed in aligning actions with values so seamlessly that virtue became natural. Seneca wrote that a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials. But notice he's talking about meaningful trials that create growth, not pointless struggles that create burnout. The friction is purposeful, not random. When you view discipline through this lens, everything changes. You stop asking, how can I force myself to do this? And start asking, how can I make this the obvious choice? You stop fighting yourself and start designing for yourself. You recognize that the struggle isn't a sign of strength, it's often a sign of poor planning.